Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Steve with Real Progressives. You have to forgive me, my voice is almost shot completely. I am still getting over the staghorn sinus infection. But, growing up as a child in an area where bullies reign supreme, you would watch the kids in school, you would watch the people, bully the kid that didn't run his mouth, that kept his mouth shut. You'd watch him bully him, and if you were not part of the in crowd, you got kicked to the curb, you got silenced, people didn't want to hear what you had to say. At the end of the day, you were basically sent packing. You were told what you had to say wasn't important, that you were being divisive, or that you were creating some sort of problem within the cool kids crew, right? And so if you didn't fit the norm, if you didn't fit their little pattern of awesomeness, you were booted to the curb. And that went on through high school. You kind of expected that nonsense in high school because that's when cliques were forming and that's when everybody was just acting a fool. But we've got real problems today now. Most of us here on Real Progressives supported Bernie Sanders during the Democratic primary. And we were constantly called Bernie Bros. We were constantly called, aggro, and we were called bullies, and we were called all kinds of stuff. The whole Correct the Record crowd really was attacking us constantly. And we were basically denigrated as these wild, crazy people that were just mean-spirited. Well, now here we are. Bernie's no longer running for president anymore, and he has actually endorsed Hillary. He's not only endorsed Hillary, but Bernie is out there actively campaigning for Hillary. And you've got people who are so unable to accept the fact that he's doing what he believes he should do, that they've come up with a million reasons why he's doing it. He's been abused. He's been punched in the neck. He's been throat punched. He's had the elbow dropped on him. He's, had salt rubbed in the eyes, whatever. And then you've got these people out there who say we've got to support Hillary now because of Bernie. And they don't have any room in their hearts whatsoever for people who are supporting Jill Stein. And what I mean by that is not that they support her and say they have their profile pictures with a Jill under it, or maybe they post a Jill Stein, article or meme or something like that, but they actually proactively fight for the things that Jill Stein stands for. In other words, the same things Bernie Sanders once stood for before he endorsed Hillary. So Bernie may believe all those things deep in his heart, but right now he's supporting somebody who will send our kids to war, who will kill our children. Now, I can't be gentle about that. My kids don't deserve to die because we're trying to curry favor with the establishment. My kids shouldn't have to die because we want to keep a Democratic majority. My kids shouldn't have to die because people think that by suckling up to the very people who stole the election to begin with will somehow or another suddenly not steal the next election from them. That somehow or another being in the in crowd suddenly will prevent them from installing the people that they want the next time. So now the latest is the Bernie people, the Bernie Sanders activist community. Mike Klingler is actively talking about purging anyone that is not playing nice, that says anything in any way, shape, or form that's considered mean-spirited, in other words, with conviction. He's 100% supports Bernie's decision to endorse Hillary, which tells me, point blank, that he doesn't believe Bernie was ever threatened. He doesn't believe Bernie was ever threatened in any way, shape, or form. He believes that this is a strategic move on Bernie's part. Bernie said way back that that was what he was going to do. He was going to support the nominee. Some of us, like myself, were never shocked about this. But when you see people who experienced being called Bernie Bros, when you see people who experienced the entire movement being marginalized by people throwing out these alpha dog quotes to try and minimalize and make us all white. Bernie made me white. You remember that? All the things that they did to undermine us. And then you see those same people talking about how horrible Jill Bros are and start talking about how mean the Jill people are. and how the organization isn't good, so I can no longer support them because of Jill Bros. When I see something like that, I say, my God, the bullied have become the bully. They've forgotten everything they learned. They are not fit to lead. They are not fit to have a platform. They are not fit to carry the mantle any longer when they are taking the role of the bully. When you can't stand firm without tearing apart an entire group of people, oh, well, Jill people, you're allowed to stick around as long as you're not mean or you say nothing negative. As long as you only stay positive, you're allowed to stay here. We support Bernie 100% in this decision to endorse Hillary because we want to advance. We want to make sure we have a full Democratic this, a full Democratic that. I'm telling you right now, I am so terribly offended by what he has pulled and what he has done and what he has said. And I have honestly looked in there to see who has liked those comments, and I've measured that against my friends list, and I have room on my friends list, folks, for new friends. I was at 5,000 for a long time. I self-reduced today. I self-selected some away from me because I am absolutely not going to settle for any friend of mine pulling the Jill Bro myth. That is repulsive, repugnant, beneath a thinking human being's level of consciousness. It is an unfair smear. It is disgusting bigotry. It is revolting, and it is everything that Bernie is not. So if you want to talk about standing by Bernie 100%, stop being a bigot. Don't be a bigot. So we're sitting here fighting for the exact same platform that we always fought for with Bernie, because Jill has it in spades. We're the same people that we were when we fought for Bernie. The difference is we're fighting for the lone progressive still running. We're not Bernie bros. We're not Jill bros. We're activists actively fighting for progress. We're real progressives actively fighting for progress. We're not bigots. And when you sit there, if you're nice and you're positive, then you can stick around. Remember that Black Lives Matter. If you would only behave yourself, you can stick around. Don't get too uppity, Black Lives Matter. You need to behave because they only want to hear positivity. If you get uppity, well, they're going to shit can you. Don't get too uppity, you protesters. Don't you dare get out of line. You better only stay positive, speak when spoken to. We're going to purge all the unwanteds, all the undesirables, all the real progressives who are standing their values and standing their principles and fighting to this day. We're going to purge you. That level of bigotry is so repulsive and revolting, so GOP-like, that I can't even put... I wasn't even going to stream tonight. I'm so damn sick. This sinus infection has kept me out of work for a long time. I haven't been able to sleep hardly at all. It's like every hour on the hour I'm up hacking away. But I felt so moved to give this stream because I am so disgusted that someone who has lived the Bernie Bro experience would start perpetuating it themselves in front of 60-some thousand people and start smearing an entire group of people as if they're the mean ones. The whole move. He can't vote for Jill anymore because some Jill Bros or Jill Hoes or Jill this or Jill that. How shallow, how worthless. Last time I measured, Jill was running for office, not her supporters. I supported Bernie all the way up until the Democratic Convention. I sat there and waited till the very end for the roll call, hoping that the DNC would come to its senses and nominate Bernie Sanders. When that didn't happen, I moved on after a very, very tearful night. I moved on to Jill Stein, the next progressive standing, along with Cornel West, Bernie surrogate, and along with a host of others. Is Cornel West a Jill bro? Is Chris Hedges no longer permitted around there because Chris Hedges isn't speaking in positivity about Hillary Clinton? Is Chris Hedges suddenly banned from a pseudo-progressive group now? Think about the ramifications of cleansing that group of any negative content, any negative people, any people that are saying things that aren't completely positive. People that are angry. Imagine cleansing a group just so you can be surrounded by positive people. How selfish. What a dereliction of leadership. You've got people out there suffering, struggling, fighting tooth and nail, worried about the environment, worried about fracking, worried to death their kids are going to die in wars that Clinton is already lining up to give us. And yet they're going to say, unless you're positive, unless you're sweet, unless you stroke us just the right way, you got to bounce. That is no way to lead anybody. And that is a damnable thing. That is why progressives always scatter. That is why you never see any progress within the progressive world. It is the most shameful form of gaslighting ever. To denigrate the people, to sweep their feet out from under them as they fight. That is completely and utterly devoid of value. People on Jill's side, the folks that are supporting Jill, support the very measures that Bernie stood for. And if Democrats are sitting there voting for bills that are actually the ones that Bernie supported, those Jill Stein supporters will support that as well. Don't you understand? We are in an election. November 8th it ends. Then we got to get back to governing the damn country. We're going to hit the Thanksgiving crowd. Oh, I'm sure everybody be loving that. And then the Christmas crowd. And then we'll roll right into the inauguration. People are going to be tuned out in about 15 minutes, sadly enough. So people are fighting tooth and nail. And they're bitter for being marginalized and cast away and having no television presence and having no voice once again, just like when Bernie was running. And they marginalized us then. And the very people that suffered through that with us are now the oppressors. They are now the ones perpetrating evil in a way that is so beneath what Bernie would have ever done. It is abominable. Bernie went to Liberty University, the pit of hell. And he spoke to people that have nothing to do with Bernie Sanders. And they embraced him because he knew where they agreed. He knew what they agreed on. And he spoke to them as human beings. He didn't kick them to the curb. But yet here's somebody who's saying, I'm backing 100% behind Bernie, kicking people out, purging the rolls. That's not like Bernie. Don't even fool yourself for a second. Where's Lloyd Benson when you need him? I know Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a friend. You, sir, are no Bernie Sanders. When you're purging the rolls and you're acting like Jill bros, you're bringing that nonsense, that demeaning, completely vapid approach. You should be ashamed of yourself. And the people liking those comments should be ashamed of themselves as well. They have forsaken any high ground by taking that stance. I'm grateful we have 85,000 people versus 62. I'm grateful that we have people that really care enough about this movement that they're not sitting there kicking potential partners aside to the curb, that we're working to expand the progressive tent so that we can get a competitive third party to run against the corporatist Dems. Anybody that believes the corporatist Dems are going to yield power is insane. Without competition, they will do what they do and will do it forever. And if you think the Queen and King, Brother Bill and Sister Hill, who started this neoliberal purge in the Democratic Party, are somehow or another going to about face and embrace progressivism, you're just tripping. You're taking some purple microdot or something. This got to stop. It's got to stop. Somebody has got to get in the dude's head and tell him that he's destroying the movement. Having a couple people that side with you over there and the rest of them are jumping ship is no way to lead. It's no way to lead. It is destructive as hell. And once again, it's pitting the left against the pseudo-left and once again marginalizing us as usual. Thank you very much, Boy Scouts of America. That is just shameful. Again, do what you want. If you're going to go ahead and sell out and put our kids to war, what can I do? I can't stop you. It's a free country. You're allowed to cast a vote for a warmonger. But I should be allowed to tell you that you're a warmonger supporter. I should be able to tell you what your vote is going to do to my children if you do that without having to fear being booted out because your skin is about as thin as like some sort of like wax paper. Like a shoji screen of skin. This movement needs all of us engaged. We're fighting right now to keep Jill Stein to a point where she can either get her matching funds so we have a competitive third party or an outright win. But let's just go with the fact that right now things are looking like let's get her 5%. Let's get her the Green Party matching federal funds. Let's get that. But to sit there and denigrate and call people Jill Bros, so utterly disappointing. I expect them to take some sort of knee-jerk response to this, and that's a shame. I'm not quitting. I won't leave. They have to boot me if they want me gone. But the fact of the matter is I'm calling them out. What they're doing is destructive to this movement. It's not helpful. And for those people whining about people fighting for Jill Stein, remember how the Hillbots whined when you supported Bernie Sanders. That's what you've become. That's who you are now, if that's the tact you take. Wear that proudly if that's who you are, so we know who you are. Put the scarlet letter on. Don't fool anybody anymore. Stop telling people you're a progressive. It doesn't matter what you do. You have free choice. You free will. You can do what you want. It is pseudo a free country. But by clipping our feet out from under us and acting like we're somehow or another bad people because we're fighting tooth and nail for the climate, for eliminating student debt, for keeping our kids out of war, well, I think that you've gone ahead and sold your soul to the devil. Anyway, I'm staying the course, folks. You know who I am. I don't deviate. I don't waver. You know I am what I am. There is no, oh my God, Steve sold out. No, I am just who I am. You come here, you know what you're getting. It's going to be the same 4-course meal every time. If you don't like what I'm selling, what I'm cooking, I get it. It ain't for everybody. But for those of you who do like it, you can guarantee that I'm not deviating. This is who I am. This is why I started this page. We have started more than this page. We're going to be doing a telethon soon. We're going to be trying to take this to the next level. We're going to be supporting Chelsea Kent Lyons and Ed Higgins out there at the Dakota Access Pipeline. Real activism work, not supporting Hillary. We're going to be sitting there supporting the march in D.C. on October 23rd. Real activism, not supporting Hillary. We're going to be supporting teaching people economics so that we can win this battle long term. We're going to be creating videos. We're going to be creating cartoons. We're going to be creating all sorts of educational material to equip progressives to win the battle long term. These are the things that make a progressive. We are going to be working the work, walking the walk, talking the talk, living the live every single day. And for those of you who stick with us, we thank you and we ask you for your support. Go to our YouTube channel. It's still growing. It's only about 1,000. There's 85,000 of you here. Help us get to 85,000 on our YouTube channel. Our website, it's brand new. It's just starting. www.realprogressivesusa.com. And go check out the articles we've written. Go help us get some website traffic. As we go and we build the site up more and more, it's going to become more and more valuable. Help us be that community for you so we can stand firm with you and defend you against the gaslighting. Help us help you. Let's make this thing sing. Let's fight the good fight together. Anyway, this is Steve with Real Progressives. I'm hoping every one of you stay true to your heart, true to your principles, true to your values. Lift each other up. Fight with one another. Help one another learn. Spread the word. Learn economics. We're going to do this together, folks. It may not happen overnight, but we're not going anywhere. We're in it for the long haul. Y'all have a great night.